Okay, so last cheese, pour me a slice. It is our Basil Hayden bourbon washed cheese. I got a call from John Antonelli about 3 years ago, and he said, I've got a Basil Hayden bourbon sales rep in my office, and they want to do a cheese and bourbon pairing. And we said, well, why don't we wash the cheese with the bourbon? And we did. We formed a beautiful partnership with Basil Hayden, Beam Suntory, and we rolled this cheese out in New York on Halloween a year and a half ago. And it was so fun because the next day we're in Forbes magazine talking about this crazy pairing of cheese and bourbon. But wow, what an amazing cheese. That, I guess, is the word that we have. If we don't say wow when we taste a cheese, a new experiment, like Michael said at the beginning, it's not easy to come up with a brand new cheese. But if we all say wow and we're clamoring to get more of the cheese, we know we have a success. And the Basil Hayden was a match made in heaven from the get-go. As soon as we had it, I think the sweetness of the corn and the cheese is just, it's amazing. But this cheese is very subtle. It is not going to burn your mouth with whiskey. It takes a minute to develop, but the finish on this cheese is amazing. But there are a lot of, sorry, that's really good. There are a lot of people out there that are moving away from wine and beer. They still are drinking wine and beer as well, but cocktails and bourbons. And Basil Hayden is just a real introductory, middle of the road, beautiful bourbon. And we love this cheese. It's just really a great cheese. Michael, you put me on a bourbon panel in Kentucky a while back, and it was hilarious because I don't drink bourbon, but you're a bourbon connoisseur. Tell us about this cheese.
I had a 4-series show with Adam Harris. He's the senior ambassador for Basil Hayden. And so we sat down, and of course we did your cheeses first. So we covered that, and then we did Marique and a couple others. And Basil doesn't just have one; they have an entire line. They have 10-year, they have dark rye, they have a Caribbean style with some molasses in it. So there's a lot of things they do. It's 80 proof, which is actually for bourbon pretty lightweight. You get into 109 on the Knob Creek, where that sets you back a little bit. But it's just a great sipping. But also with cheese, it's fabulous. So I've been enjoying bourbon and cheese for a long time. IDDBA, I did a bourbon class, next, I think it's the 25th or 26th, I'm having Adam back on, and we're doing cheese charcuterie and bourbon. So
That's fun.
Amplifying it, I was very fortunate, being up and getting up to Vermont and getting out with the Fat Toad people. They're wonderful, and this is it's a salted bourbon caramel, and you don't really taste a lot of the bourbon, but it, again, what the other things did with the cheese is X in it. So you have a little bit of bourbon, the flavor on the cheese. So you add a little bit here and it steps it up again. So you really get a nice amplification, and it works really well. But, just sitting down to a bourbon neat and the cheese, it works just perfectly. And as a matter of fact, that sounds really good. When I get done here, pour me a nice neat bourbon, and I'll start finishing our work tonight.
There you go.